Hello and welcome everyone back to another in the series of Vegans Across the World. Today I'm so happy to meet Bee. Hi Bee, how are you?
Hi, how are you
She is
doing, Steve?
good. She is in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. So what I do Bee is I'm going to share my screen with you, and I just want you to let me know if you see it because it takes me away from this screen. And let me know if you see it when I show the map of the world with your little dot on there.
Okay.
You see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. You've got it.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So we're going to zoom in. That gives everybody an idea of where you are in the world. We'll keep zooming in. Make that real big.
Yeah.
And I'll center it. Get this over here. All right. So what I'm going to do is give some information about the area that you're in.
All
Malaysia
right.
is a Southeast Asian country occupying parts of the Malay Peninsula and the island of Borneo. It's known for its beaches, rainforests, and mix of Malay, Chinese, Indian, and European cultural influences. Kuala Lumpur is home to the Petronas Twin Tower. Did I say that right, Petronas?
Yeah, Patronus, that's it.
Okay, Twin Towers, which at 1,483 feet tall were the tallest buildings in the world from 1998 until 2004. Malaysia declared independence from the British Empire in 1957. They have a unique rotating monarchy system in which 9 ethnic Malay state rulers take turns as king for 5-year terms. Is that true?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
Now tell me if I say any names wrong here, but the
Right.
Sarawak cave chamber is the largest known cave chamber in the world. It's located in Gunung Malu National Park on the island of Borneo. In December 1511, the Portuguese ship Flor de la Mar, which means flower of the sea, sank in Malaysia's Strait of Malacca with what was the largest treasure collected by the Portuguese Navy at the time. Today, modern day pirates patrol the strait. 4 UNESCO designated World Heritage Sites are in Malaysia. UNESCO stands for United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. Um, Taman Negara is estimated to be more than 130 million years old, making it the world's oldest tropical rainforest. And you need special permission from the government to visit, but it's home to rare mammals and even the Asian elephant. It is also home to the most king cobras, and I thought this was really interesting, a parasitic flower called Rafflesia. You know,
Ah, yeah.
is it? Yeah. It's also the largest flower in the world with a cross section of over a meter in length. And the population was about 31.95 million as of the 2019 census. So, what I'll do now is I'll stop sharing my screen and I will get back to us, B. Let's get to
Oh,
know you a little bit better. First of all, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? For example, what do you do? And maybe what kind of activism are you involved in?
um, I'm a full-time mom. I've got
Okay.
2 human children and 9 fur kids.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, but my whole vegan journey started because my husband and I started rescuing homeless animals. And we have a lot of them in Malaysia, like dogs, cats. They're just on the streets. So that started about 12 years ago, um, and yeah, it's just something that sort of led me down this path that I'm very happy to be on at the moment. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so it's sort of like a sad thing when you sometimes you're walking along somewhere and you see an animal, and I used to sort of pick him up and take him home, and
Yeah.
and and it became like a larger scale thing, and yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
I'm not.
used to do that myself. I used to pick up a lot of strays.
Oh yeah, do you get them there too?
Oh, sure, they're everywhere in the world, but probably worse in some areas than others. But yeah, we have strays. I mean, not you don't see them as much in the area that I'm in right now, which is around the college and near the city. You won't see them as much. But I used to live outside of the city, further away, and I couldn't walk my dogs down the street without picking up a stray.
Oh,
So yeah, it's pretty bad.
yeah,
But
yeah.
so where are you originally from?
I'm of Indian descent, but I grew up in a place called Brunei, which is
Okay.
in Borneo. It shares a border with Sarawak. So I'm not
Okay.
actually, but I have lived in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur for 20 years now.
Okay. Okay.
So it's,
So you're pretty much from there.
yeah, that's right.
So what's the culture and the food like there where you
Oh
are?
God, very diverse cultural experience living here. Like, like you mentioned earlier, there's Malays, there's the Chinese descent, and there's the Indians, and then the local cuisine is sort of representative of all of that. Um, it's quite interesting. It's an interesting mix, and but however, it's not a mix that sort of celebrates a vegan lifestyle or you know
Yeah, just a different cultural mix, like a melting pot
yeah, that's
there.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you
but
you said that you've been there for 20 years. Do you mind me asking about how old you are?
yeah, I'm 42.
Okay. So where were you living at before that?
In Brunei, I
Okay. So
was,
you were still in the same area.
yeah, but
Okay.
it's a little bit different because Brunei's mostly all Malay. It's not as multicultural as Malaysia is.
What is Malay culture then?
They're Muslims, and
Okay.
I, and I, they originally came across from Indonesia.
Okay.
So the Indonesians and the Malays, and everyone in Malaysia speaks the language called Malay, Bahasa Melayu, they call it. And
Okay.
it's a different dialect slightly, but it's sort of like, yeah, they came from Indonesia, and like the Indians came from India, and the Chinese came from China. And so to start with, we had like the indigenous people here. And at the moment, you don't really find them much in Kuala Lumpur, which is West Malaysia. They're
Yeah.
mainly in East Malaysia, which is in Borneo.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. You know, the history of Malaysia is quite interesting.
Yeah. Sounds like it. So it sounds like a crossroads from a lot of places that
Yeah.
all mingle there. So, was there any kind of, even though it's near, was there any kind of shock, cultural shock, moving from that
Well,
to
no,
where you
it's
are now?
so much. It's very liberal here, so
Okay.
that part I appreciate it. I yeah. So Brunei is quite conservative and predominantly, you know, only one culture. And here, moving here, I quite enjoyed the, it's very liberal. So I kind of decided, yeah, like I like it earlier on, and
Yeah.
decided to.
Okay. And is your husband from there as well?
No, he's Australian,
Okay.
so we spent a little
Okay.
bit of time in Sydney.
What's that?
We spent a little bit of time in Sydney, but decided that we prefer it here, so we're back here now.
Okay. Okay. So, tell us, how long have you been vegan?
6 years now. six
Okay.
years now, and it started because I got involved in some Facebook groups um, that were campaigning against the dog and cat meat trade. Um, Predominantly, it started with the Yulin thing.
Yeah.
The Yulin, yeah, and then I learned more about what happens in Southeast Asia. Malaysia and Singapore are the only countries in Southeast Asia that do not have the dog meat trade or the cat meat
Wow.
trade. Yeah. So our neighboring countries like Indonesia and Thailand and Cambodia and Vietnam and Philippines and Laos, these are all the Southeast Asian countries. Every one of them has the dog and cat meat trade. And it's just brutal. It's just, it's horrific. And
Have you ever witnessed any of it? I mean, do you travel freely around there, or have you traveled to those areas?
I have traveled there. I haven't actually seen it, but it happens. I've seen footage, um, all sorts of horrific things. And so when I started campaigning, like on Facebook, I was a part of many groups, and there were petitions, this and that. And I was very naive back then, thinking, oh, something could be done. But I'm of a different mindset now. But anyways, I sent on a petition to a friend of mine, and I was just like, completely like, oh, outraged by this. And she said to me, "You do know that the same things happen to chickens, and she said, and I said, but I said, it's different. And she goes, is it? Sort of thing. And she goes, these chickens are killed exactly the same way as these dogs are killed. And mind you, the interesting part is that she wasn't actually vegan, but she told me about it, and then I started researching it, and then and then I just one day decided I don't want to, and I just sort of went vegetarian overnight after finding out about it, and then I transitioned into veganism like maybe a month later. But yeah,
Yeah, did it take you a little bit longer to find out about dairy?
yeah.
Yeah, it is for most people. A lot of people, they figured they quit eating meat and they're not harming animals by just drinking milk and don't. We grew up with the lies of happy cows and stuff like that.
Yeah,
We don't
yeah.
think about the fact they need to be pregnant to lactate.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
There's still some people. They've done surveys. There's still a lot of people that think that chocolate milk comes from brown cows. That's how ignorant we are.
No, my ignorance. My gosh, I know how.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think it's willful ignorance. We don't
It is.
want to know.
It is definitely
Yeah.
because you kind of like tell people about it, and they go, "Oh, all right." You think they're having that aha moment, and then nothing changes really. And I've had a few frustrating conversations. I mean, we don't have any sort of activism here. I don't think it's tolerated. It's interesting. A friend of mine from Australia, from Perth, actually told me a couple of years ago that there were a few cubes held here in 2015 or something like that, a few years ago. And I know the area where they had the cubes. And but
So probably right at the beginning of AV. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. And I didn't even know about it. And no, it's not tolerated. So there's no active form of activism, but we do have a vegan group in Malaysia, which is where I saw
Yeah.
your um but I feel like everyone tends to stay away from I mean, there's vegans and then there's plant-based.
Yep.
So a lot of people, like even when we had this thing called the World Vegan Day last year, or no, not last year, 2019, before COVID, um, a lot of the conversation was about the health benefits, which is really a plant-based diet. It's not, everyone shies away from the animal cruelty aspect.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, maybe they don't want to know, as you said, it's willful ignorance or, yeah.
They don't want to upset people. Yeah. I The thing is, I put that post in the Vegans of Malaysia group, and I was so happy that you messaged me right away because after that, I had a couple of people that recommended some people to interview, and I looked at them, and they were just chefs. They nothing about animal rights on their pages. It was all about food, and that's not what I was looking for. And
Yeah.
you were. So I took the post down pretty quick because I didn't want anybody to get their feelings hurt, you know.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
why I put in the post vegan and animal rights activists because a lot of people think vegan, oh, just it's about food. It's not. Animal rights activist is what I try to say.
Well, I'm a
So.
bit of a warrior. Not really involved in activism.
Well, I mean, even online activism, and you make posts. I mean, I've seen your posts. You make posts about animal rights, and that in itself, especially in this day and age with the pandemic, is activism. It's important activism, and it's the only activism some people can do right now. So even in places where we can usually do
Yeah,
demonstrations, we're limited um,
yeah,
because of what's going on. So it's a form of activism. It is. So that's what you do basically. Is that the form of activism? Is your online posts?
yeah. It is, and it's funny because I have this handful of vegan friends who kind of like the post, and the rest of them I can just see them just scrolling past
Yeah,
and going, "Oh, there she is again," sort of thing.
yeah. And that's the thing. It's like they want it to all be like rainbows, just pretty pictures of food. They don't want to talk about,
They don't want to talk about the stuff that's confronting, and
yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's something that I sort of face that with my family even every time I see them. It's like, oh, but I mean, they understand that I'm vegan, they accept it, but they are not in any way interested in transitioning into veganism. And it's very interesting because I come from an Indian background, and vegetarian, there are a lot of vegetarians in the Indian culture,
Yeah.
but my family not. Like my parents and my siblings, and um, so it's quite difficult. Sort of like, I mean, that's sort of like a thing where I have had to like tell myself not to get upset over it, or because it is a thing where not many people want to. My children are vegans, and their dad's vegan, but no, I actually personally I know one other family who's vegan in Malaysia. Um, so it's like, it's like if you come here, it's like spot the vegans sort of thing.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So, well, you kind of told us what made you want to go vegan. Did you when you did your own research? What did you come across when you did your own research? Were you coming across like things like Dominion? Well, I guess it's 6 years ago Dominion wasn't out, but like Earthlings and videos and Darius Scary and stuff like that. Did you happen upon that? How did you come across the information?
Again, it was on Facebook. Um, I saw some slaughterhouse footages, and only because it's funny. I mean, I am so passionate about animal rights and animal. I was rescuing animals, but it's so funny. You don't always connect the dots.
Yeah,
You don't always say that whatever's. And I was like totally cut up or distraught over this um, a video I saw of something happening to a dog in Vietnam, and I
yeah,
was just full of just rage that somebody would do this, right? But again, I would go and have my dinner that night, and I had chicken, and
yeah,
I did not thoughts. And then it's funny that this friend of mine pointed it out that it's hypocritical what you're doing.
yeah,
So then I sort of went in, and a few of my Facebook friends that who were in the same group campaigning against the we used to call it the DCMT, the dog and cat meat trade, um, and they had information about veganism, and I learned through that. So the social media thing has been a massive platform in my world, in my transition into veganism. And when I was a vegetarian, a vegan friend of mine on Facebook said to me, and he is a staunch vegan, right? And he said, I would rather eat meat than have dairy.
yeah,
And he goes, there's years of torture and just years of suffering.
yep,
And, so that sort of hit home.
yeah,
And yeah. And one day I just
yeah.
thought, no, I don't want milk in my coffee. I can have it with soy milk or black or whatever. So it didn't make sense
Yeah,
anymore.
I that's what I say is like I'd rather if people are going to do the transition thing, I'd rather them give up dairy first. Of course, I'd want people to just give up everything, but if
Yeah.
that's what it's going to be, I'd rather them give up dairy first. It's just horrible. That industry is like the
No,
worst.
it is.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, it's dreadful. So, when someone goes, but how do you live without cheese?
I know.
I survive. I'm okay.
Everybody thinks of themselves as like such a cheese lover. I know I did. I would
Yeah.
pay for expensive cheese. I loved cheese, cheese, cheese. But I tell you what, that's what I said. If I could quit it, you can.
Yeah,
Believe me, you
yeah,
can. You're not going to go through it, withdrawals. You're not going to go sell your butt on the streets to get your next fix of cheese. You're not going to go rob a bank or a pharmacy to go get some lactose. You know,
yeah.
you're just not.
And we have the alternatives these days. I think we're lucky these days. Like,
Yeah.
I 6 years ago, I don't know if I wasn't looking. I don't think it was that. I think they just didn't have the options like the meat substitutes or the plant-based cheese and milk and everything, I don't think we give up too much these days. We do have the vegan alternative.
Yeah, when I first started, I actually the only non-dairy cheese alternative there was Daya, and I'll say it to this day, it was awful. I did not like Daya cheese.
I remember, Daya.
And it's you got to give them kudos for being around so long and making an effort. And I will say their cheddar block is good, grated. That is good. But there's any slices that they had. Oh God, I just hated it. But making your own, I learned how to make my own cashew cheese, and it rocks. It's so much better than anything you'll buy. You know what I mean?
I gotta get the recipe off you.
Oh, you just basically it's just soak some cashews and then you drain them and put them in a blender with whatever you like. I
All
just
right.
started playing around. I like garlic, salt, herbs. Sometimes I put garam masala. That's next level. You put some garam masala in there.
That's
Oh,
interesting.
so good. And you just blend it up until it's creamy. Just play with it. That's all. It's just a base of cashews and whatever you like.
Oh
So
God.
so good. So good. So anyway, I was going to ask you if any of your family or friends are vegan. You said your whole family, your husband and your children are vegan. How old are your children? Have you been raising them vegan since birth, or is
No, I went vegan 6 years ago, and it was just me at the time. And then their dad went vegan about a year later, I think,
so your
or
kids were already around? I don't know how old your kids are.
yeah, my kids are 9 and 12, so they were around. And it's funny because the little one said to me when she was about 5 that she doesn't want to. Yeah, about 3 years ago, she would have been about 6. She said, "I don't want to eat animals anymore." I mean, obviously, it's because they knew why I was vegan. So I kind
Yeah.
of said, and so she sort of made that move that she didn't want to anymore, and she was lactose intolerant anyway. So we were all having plant-based milk at home. So and she just and she's very very adamant that she will never eat animals. The older one was be like, but it's funny because I don't buy any animal products for home anymore.
So
Um,
was the transition fairly easy for them?
oh yeah, like I said, we get the vegan sausages and the vegan. Like I'm not really into the meat substitutes much myself, but it's come in very handy for the kids.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's we just pop down to the supermarket 5 minutes away, and we have the whole array of the mayos and the cheese and the ice creams and
Yeah.
you know
So you get
vegan.
like Beyond Burgers there?
Yeah,
Oh,
we get
awesome.
the is it the Beyond Meat and the Impossibles,
Yeah. Yeah.
the Veggie Delights. We get the whole lot. Yeah, and there's an actual store here called Vegan District,
Okay.
and everything there is vegan. So any vegan produce you want, you can order it online for delivery, and it's amazing. And that popped up about a couple of years ago. So the vegan movement is growing here. So we have
That's
the
so awesome when you have a fully vegan grocery store. We used to have one years ago when I first moved back here I live in Ohio or Cincinnati, and we had one. It was just a little general store downtown, but it was all vegan. So it was great to go in there, and it wasn't a
yeah.
huge store, but any kind of specialty items you wanted to go in there, and you don't have to look at labels or anything, and
Right, you don't
and
have to hours just yeah. And then there's
yeah.
the milk down the bottom.
And you know what? They were very popular. They were doing great, but at its peak, he closed the store down and moved out west. He
Oh,
decided to close it when he was at his peak, and yeah, sorely missed. Sorely missed. Wish somebody else would be able to open it. If I had the money or the know-how, I would do it, but I just don't. So,
but
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 are any of your? I'm sorry.
but I'm sure you have access to like all the stuff in other supermarkets
Oh
or
yeah. Yeah, I mean we have it in our regular grocery stores now, you
yeah,
know. It's just, it's good to when you have a fully vegan store to support them and you don't have to
it's
walk
like
through
yeah, I know.
avoid the meat and dairy sections and stuff, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what they do now at our local grocery is, which is a good strategy for non-vegan to get non-vegans to buy the products, but they're mixing it in with the standard products. Like to get a Beyond Burger, I have to go into the meat section,
Ah, okay.
which helps it appeal to non-vegans to try it. Which
Yeah.
I understand the reasoning and the marketing, but I have to look at all the dead bodies. You know what I mean? So,
That's a hard part. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I find it. We don't have that here. Things are not mixed, so the
yeah,
butcher section is separate.
yeah.
Um,
It used to be like that.
yeah, yeah. So but yeah, I
But
understand. I hear you.
now it's a strategy that, like, if I want to buy non-dairy sour cream or something like that, I have to go. It's right next to the dairy sour cream and or the non-dairy yogurt stuff like that.
Yeah.
They do section off a few specialty items, which I think is really odd. Like for example, the my local grocery, they have they have kimchi in the vegetarian. It's like, why? Why isn't it just this vegetable? You know, why is that specialty for vegetarians? So no non-vegetarian or vegan is ever going to try kimchi. What are you trying to say? I mean, it's the oddest thing that they decided to keep in the vegetarian section.
Yeah.
That and kombucha. It's like, oh, okay. If you're not vegan, you don't eat fermented foods or drink fermented, probiotic drinks. What are you trying to say? It's so
Yeah.
weird. So very weird. I'd like to just go in there and like put a big sign up in the vegetables vegan section. Stay away from the vegan section. This is all ours. So, all right, you kind of said that your family's never going to go vegan. What about your
Yeah.
husband's family?
Oh,
What do they think? Have they? No.
no, they're very much into their meat.
So, what do they think about you guys raising their grandchildren vegan?
Um, well, my mom's asked me, "Are your kids healthy? Are they, where are they getting their calcium from, and that sort of thing." So, I kind of have this entire conversation with her.
You have to
How
educate them.
Yeah, but it's just it's a bit frustrating because they connect. It's not just them; it's most people. They think that being vegan or vegan food is not palatable, and it's just it seems to be the driving force for everything.
Yeah.
So so
What
it's
do you
like
eat?
I know it's like
Isn't it crazy that we grow up with our parents telling us to eat our vegetables, to finish our vegetables,
I know
and then we get older, become vegan, and they're like, eat your meat.
I know all you eat is broccoli sort of thing.
You're so weird, you're eating vegetables.
I know
Just,
I know
what
but
happened?
it's funny but like yeah they get it. I've had conversations with my mom and she gets it, but she has no intention of yeah, so it's a bit frustrating. And I've had friends say to me, "Oh, how do you just live on broccoli and salad?" And so, which is like not true. I do eat things other than broccoli and salad, but
Sure, we
but
all do.
it's a stereotype, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
vegans eat nothing but salad, sort of thing. So yeah, it is what it is. And a lot of people, I've actually heard someone say to me, their life is not worth living if they give up the yummy stuff that they eat. And
I've heard, yeah, I've heard that
but
too. Yeah, I think we all have. It's
yeah,
ridiculous. It's
yeah.
ridiculous. So you don't have any friends that are vegan? You say you only know one other vegan couple. You don't really have any friends that are vegan.
No, I have no. I mean, I know of vegans, like, obviously in the group and stuff, or like, I know one other family. They're at my kids' school. They're vegans. For their, animal cruelty, but I don't know anyone else really. No, it's not. It's a growing concept, but again, I don't feel like the concept is gonna has any momentum because the animal cruelty aspect's not addressed.
Yeah. You need some groups to do
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Well, you just have to keep making your posts, you know? You'll have to be the one to blaze that trail.
uh,
So, would you say, well, you kind of told us, but would you say it's easier or hard to be vegan where you live? It's easy. You've got all the alternatives, right?
yeah.
But what
I've never.
about like alternatives to leather, wool, toiletries that are vegan, stuff like that, makeup?
We have a Lush store here, which is
Okay,
yeah, which sort of helps. Um, and makeup. On Sephora we have access to cruelty-free makeup, and what else can I say? We don't really wear leather. It's the tropics, so it's too hot, or
sure.
wool.
Yeah, or
But
for yeah, no
yeah,
fur.
like leather. I mean, leather in cars and furniture, and you just have to opt to stay away from that. But I think people don't know much about it still. I mean, they think about maybe the plant-based diet, but then you know uh, the vegan lifestyle. I'm not sure how many people actually are into it, or they're well versed. And it took me years also to learn about it. You
Yeah,
know, you don't sort of like there's no and sometimes you don't think that something goes into something that's cruel,
yeah,
and then you go, oh, okay. So yeah, it's not, like I said, it's a very it's we're it's baby steps at the moment. So
yeah, yeah. It's hidden in so many things. I mean, as
yeah,
a vegan for a long time, I still learn things every once in a while that I had no idea there was animal products in. But
yeah,
some of it you have no choice because the world we live in, like
yeah,
I have to have a car. Even
yeah,
if I have vegan tires, I'm sure there's something in my car that's not vegan. Um, you're always learning. You're always
yeah.
learning. It's just amazing some of the stuff they slip it into, you know.
And you think, and there was one point of time I thought, do we do nothing that does not involve animal exploitation?
Yeah,
I mean, be in everything that we do. So it's a and to be honest with you, it does sort of, I do get despondent sometimes, like like, oh my gosh, it's just too much. But yeah, I just gotta
sure.
keep going.
You just have to keep trying. It's better than not caring at all, because nothing will change at all then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, so it's easy to be vegan where you are, but what would you say are your struggles as a vegan?
Um, my struggle as a vegan is that, well, it'd be nice to have a larger vegan community.
Sure.
Um, you know, and my daughter feels it. She's 9 and she goes to school and she talks to her friends about it who completely don't get it. And recently, she has a friend who's just, she's transitioning into veganism. She's vegetarian at the moment. So when she comes over, she asks me, and I say, "Oh, do you want a hot dog?" And the hot dogs in my house are always vegan hot dogs. you
Sure.
know.
Yeah,
So
that's without saying. Yeah.
I don't sort of go, "Do you want a vegan?" And she asks me, but is it vegan? And so I tell her friend, "Yes, it is." And then she goes, oh, "Okay, I'll have one then," sort of thing. And it's really
That's
cute.
good that she's doing that. That's good that she's getting in that habit. Whether she could, she's not taking it for granted. She is thinking about it.
Yeah, yeah. And then this little girl, she's lovely, and she's really, it's her own thing. Her family aren't vegan; it's just her. But her family are very supportive,
That's
and
good.
yeah, so it is it is nice. And my daughter said to me, it's so nice hanging out with her because she's the only one of my friends who understands that animals are not here for us to eat, or for us to exploit in any other way. And so I kind of feel that it'd be nice to sort of have more people who are on the same page, and didn't, because at the moment I feel like the majority sort of ridicule, that you do face a lot of that. And I've had like very sort of condescending comments and remarks, and like, someone told me once, "Oh, you're a cruel mother, you don't give your kids meat," and stuff like that. That's quite, sometimes it's a little bit like hurtful, or and I just like, I'm like, just sort of like, water off a duck's back. But it does get a little bit like, exhausting sometimes. And so
Sure.
I have so as a result, I have distanced myself a little bit. And so I have a circle of people around me now who are supportive, even if they're not vegan themselves. But yeah, that's the only thing. I'd love to have more of people I connect with on that level, so you're not sort of like always the odd one out.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Some days it's just you need that support system. You need somebody that
Yeah,
understands. Well,
yeah.
at least you have your husband and your children. Some people find that they don't even have that,
Oh, that'll be difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that can make relationships very difficult, but some people somehow they make it work. And if they've already got children involved,
Yeah.
that makes them try to make it work even more. So, you have to. But how do you? All right, so you kind of told us how do people view animal rights where you live? You say they're not really acknowledgeable on it. So
Animal rights are pretty much non-existent.
yeah, you don't see any kind of PETA groups or any animal save groups. You don't have any activism whatsoever.
We do have rescue groups for cats and dogs.
Okay.
We have an organization called Malaysian Dogs Deserve Better. And they do great work. They really, and there's something. What was the other one? I can't remember. We have a few of them, but it's just for cats and dogs, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
But
But it stops there.
yeah, but it stops there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty much non. I mean, there's you get in trouble with the law if you abuse a dog.
Yeah.
Like where else in the world, I guess.
Would you get in trouble? You said there was AV chapters, but would you get in trouble with the law if you started up the AV chapters again, or if you did any kind of demonstrations at all? Would you said it's
I
kind of frowned upon, but is it
yeah.
legal?
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I heard from some friend of mine that the cubes that happened have never happened again because they were shut down by law enforcement.
Really? Yeah, I don't know how you get around that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
So,
know.
I mean, and it's not just here. I don't believe we have any activism in Singapore either.
Yeah.
And Singapore are quite progressive, I heard, with, again, with domesticated, cats and dogs and stuff. I mean, I'd have a pig as a pet if I could, or a cow. That's my dream one day.
Have a sanctuary, start a sanctuary.
Yeah, I'd love to. My gosh. But
Do
yeah,
you have,
mhm.
go ahead.
But no, I mean, we don't have any activism at the moment at all. And I believe it's because it's not legal.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of slaughterhouses around? Do you know?
I have seen one.
You've never
I
seen
have
one?
I've never seen one, and it's not anywhere around where I live.
Okay.
And
Do you have big rural areas with farms, big farms and stuff like that?
well, I sort of live near the city,
Okay.
so I've never seen farms. I've heard of them, and yeah, I've heard some horror stories. So
So you haven't really been out to the rural areas to know whether or not that, they have big farms out there or anything like that.
I no, I haven't actually even seen a bunch of animals, like like a farm area. No, and that may be, and a lot of the meat section, the meat here is flown in.
Okay. That's kind of what I was wondering, is
Yeah.
whether, you have that as a local business. I didn't really look into what your agriculture or anything like that was. Um,
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of live export that goes on from Australia and stuff, which, I
oh,
find just awful. Like, I have friends who, they're just relentless in their campaigning against the live export in Perth
sure.
and stuff. And it's just, but, again, it's an industry driven by lies and by money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, they sell us the consumers the lies, and then they know they're not going to, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Why would they, you know
Sure. Yeah. But I was just wondering, like, if it'd be possible to do like a save there where you do vigils at slaughterhouses or stuff like
you know
that.
I think they have slaughterhouses for chickens.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not really sure how it is here, because would the slaughterhouse just be exclusive to just chickens? I don't know, maybe. And
I think that kind of slaughterhouse, I think it would.
yeah.
I don't know when it comes to bigger mammals like, for example, cows, if they might mix in sheep, stuff like that. I'm not sure, but I think it would be probably chicken. A
Yeah, and
slaughterhouse for chickens would just be for chickens because I think if it's mass production, they need certain equipment that's sized or
yeah,
specialized for that animal. You know what I mean?
yeah. No, I don't think we have factory farming in a big way here. I don't believe we do.
Yeah.
Um, I have heard of a vigil once, many years ago. Again, I don't think it ever happened again. It's funny. I always hear about it after it's happened. And
Yeah.
anyway, it was not something I could have gone to because of, I was had a baby and all of that at the time, and but it never happened again. So I kind of can envisage what would have happened. So there would have been a group of people who showed up. Cops would have arrived and said, "Okay, you got to go home now."
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's yeah, it's not legal to sort of, even if it's a peaceful demonstration. I don't think you
So
get away with it.
you gotta get approval from the government or a permit to do stuff like that there?
Yeah,
Is that what you're
that's
saying? Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, that's very frustrating.
it
That's
is.
very
And so
frustrating. I wouldn't know how to go around that.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
um, so I was going to ask you what your favorite form of activism is. Obviously, you're kind of stuck with the posts, the social media posts. But
yeah.
what would you like to do if you could?
You know, I'm not sure I'd be very good at a cube, because I've heard that sometimes you come across um, people who can be abusive and stuff like that. And
Okay.
I've got to tell you, I have no patience for that anymore. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like, it just triggers me when, but
It depends on how abusive. I don't have a lot of patience either. I mean, you are allowed to stand up for yourself and tell somebody to fuck off. It's like you don't have to take abuse. It depends on how they're being. I have told somebody that came up. I have had to tell them to fuck off because they were being quite abusive. And you've got to, as an organizer, I've got to make sure that my people are safe because they're behind us. So the people in the cube are pretty much uh, helpless because they're behind a screen and they're behind a mask and they can't necessarily see what's going on and they're holding on to equipment and so you got to watch out for them. It just depends on the level, really, of how you handle them. If it's just somebody just mouthing off, you just ignore them. You get kind of
yeah,
thick skin. But if it's
but
somebody being outright abusive, yeah, you
yeah,
can
you
stand up for
know,
yourself.
But I don't know. I wouldn't mind being at a vigil sometime.
Those are
Only
hard.
they're hard. I know they'd be heartbreaking, I'm sure. But just to bear witness, because I
Sure.
sometimes think, I don't know, maybe they go to a better place if we sort of feel them before they go.
That, or just so that they don't go in without being recognized.
Yeah,
They don't go out of this world without at least somebody seeing them for
yeah,
the first time, you know.
yeah,
But it is hard because you kind of feel helpless because
yeah,
there's really nothing you can do to stop it. All you could do is witness it to to witness that they existed. You know,
yeah,
your uh, testament to the fact that they existed. You
yeah,
recognize that they exist,
yeah.
and sometimes that's all you can do. But yeah, it's hard. I've been to some pig vigils, and yeah.
Yeah.
So, if a vegan visits where you live, where do you think that they should go? It doesn't have to be a restaurant. Like, if there's a place that you really love to go, it can be a restaurant. Where do you think they should go?
Well, there's an amazing vegan restaurant in KL called the Hungry Tapir. I mean, we
Okay.
have a few places. We do have a few vegan restaurants, but this is absolutely, I don't know. It's just like So if I wanted to convince a non-vegan friend that we eat more than just salad, this is the place to come, because it's just amazing, and they have the most amazing cocktails. That's vegan cocktails too. So it is a really, really fun place. It's like a really funky place, and I think we need more of them in Malaysia, because a lot of people think vegans are boring,
Yeah.
and we're just like, we're like, I don't know, we do yoga, and there's nothing wrong with yoga, but
Live in
that
tents.
there's a certain stereotype, and so I think we need more of that to show the world, really, that it can be a fun lifestyle being vegan, and you don't give anything up. And so anyway,
Yeah.
this place here, it's really a fantastic place. That is the number one place I'd recommend anyone goes to try the vegan food. It's sort of like a Malaysian fusion food, like a Malaysian sort of westernized sort of flavors. It's pretty cool.
And what is, I didn't really ask you that earlier. What is Malaysian food? What would you say distinguishes Malaysian food?
Well, we have the Malay food, and then we have the Indian food, and then we have the Chinese food. So it's kind of like a very colorful, diverse sort of cuisine here. But if you want to look at the Malay food, they have things like, usually they have things like chicken skewers, or like meat or whatever. And these guys, this restaurant, I gotta tell you, this is my favorite. They make it using mushroom, and it's
Yeah.
amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And there's a lot of rice and noodles and stir fries and stuff. So if you go out to a non-vegan place, it is not that difficult to actually get them to modify the food to be vegan. So you can just order something vegetarian, um, which is not difficult to find in Malaysia. You can find vegetarian stuff, and then you just tell them leave the cream off, or leave the cheese off, leave the butter out, whatever, and they can modify it. So, but yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I can't really recommend a particular spot. Like, in Indonesia, I'm aware of a place called, I've been to this place, Bali. Bali is not actually a vegan place, but there's a certain spot in Bali called Canggu, I believe. If I might be wrong. Um, they apparently everything's vegan there.
Okay.
So yeah, so Bali.
Well, whatever
Sorry.
links are like that restaurant you were telling us about, people, I'll leave them below. You can look below this for any links we're talking about and check those
Yeah.
out.
So yeah, and we have what is it called? Zesty Clicks. We have a plant-based platform where you can order just vegan stuff and
Okay.
vegetarian. Yeah, so that's sort of a new thing in Malaysia. So that's sort of in my mind, that's a massive step forward, you know,
Yeah,
to support people who are vegan.
sure. Sure
Yeah,
it is. And yeah, I mean it's like it's making it more acceptable, less ridicule, people will get more used to it. And then hopefully they'll you can work in the ethics, you know what I mean? You can work that in after they start to like accept that we don't just eat salads, you know?
that's right. And broccoli.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite local vegan dish that they should try if they come there?
Uh, well, I would recommend those mushroom skewers, definitely. And they come with this sort of a peanut sauce. It's amazing.
Mm. I love peanut sauce.
Yeah.
I do. I love peanut sauce. I like Thai food, so that tends to have a lot of peanut sauce in it. So,
Thai food can be vegan too. I mean, I think you
oh,
can.
definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite easy to
Yeah.
find vegan options. Yeah.
Yeah, from my experience, it's like what you're talking about, rice and vegetables and then the sauce. It's all about the sauce.
Yeah.
Isn't
Yeah.
everything all about the sauce?
That's right. It's all about the sauce.
So, if a vegan comes there, I was going to ask you how could they get involved in the local vegan community, but I would just say if a vegan comes there, get in touch with you because you want to meet them.
That's right. Give me a call. I
Yeah.
love vegan.
Please come hang out with me.
That's right. I'll take them to the Hungry Tapir.
There you go. There you go. All right. So I only have one more question for you. Where would you like to visit one day and learn about veganism there?
I've heard so much about how progressive the vegan movement is in LA. I'm not sure if that's
Okay.
true. So that is definitely
That's what I've heard too. When I've gone out there, I've heard that, but I haven't personally seen it that much. But
oh no.
that's what I hear. So I'm not going to
Well,
say it's wrong. I just might not have been with the right people. you know?
no, so yeah, I heard that LA was one of the best places to be if you're vegan. So that was one of my you know go to things it's on
So
the
you'd
bucket list.
like to go to LA then?
Yeah.
Have you ever been to the States? Have you ever visited the United States?
No, no,
Have
I
you gotten to
haven't.
travel around much at all besides just that area and then Australia?
No, I haven't actually. I've sort of stuck to this part of the world.
Okay.
So that's on the list one day after the pandemic.
Yeah. And then I'm starting to worry about this next wave that's coming around. I wanted to get
It's just,
out of the country for a little while, but I'm afraid to get my ticket and find out that we're not allowed to go anywhere in a couple months. You know what I mean?
well, we've been in lockdown here since May.
You're still in lockdown.
Yeah, so it's been like a couple of months, and I don't expect us to come out of lockdown till September, maybe. Maybe.
Wow. So, what kind of restrictions are you under exactly? You just like limited to going to the grocery store, or you don't have inside seating for uh,
I mean,
restaurants, stuff like that?
away. Schools are closed. My kids have been like
Oh,
basically, yeah, my kids have been doing online like home learning pretty much since last March, save for a few months here and there. And it's
so
a
how is
strange.
that going?
Uh, they adapt. They kind of they're resilient. Initially they found it a little bit difficult, but they've adapted, and they go to a really good. It's a British international school. The teacher's amazing. They have made it sort of like so the kids don't. They transitioned onto home learning with without much difficulty. But
Good.
um, but it's just a very strange thing, like where we've just been in lockdown, and since we've been in lockdown, the numbers have gone up here. So so it's I don't think lockdown's been too effective. So
Yeah. I had somebody else tell me the same thing where they were at. I'm trying to remember where it was. I think it was maybe South America somewhere where they've been
Okay.
in lockdown the whole time, but their numbers, oh yeah, it was one of the places in South America where the numbers are extremely high.
Oh,
And they said it's just they've been in lockdown the whole time, but their numbers are so high. And I said, why do you think that is? They said, well, there's just people that aren't following the
yeah,
law.
that's right.
And I know here, when we first had lockdown where I live last year, I live in a college area. There would be college parties every weekend with backyards, huge backyards packed with probably 100 people.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, they weren't, we were supposed to be in lockdown, and they were all
Yeah.
partying, and then you have to go to the grocery store with those people, it's like, so
Yeah,
yeah.
it doesn't help.
Yeah. So I don't know what the solution is to that. I do. Wait, wait. I do know what the solution is. Stop commodifying. Stop exploiting animals, and we wouldn't have pandemics.
I, I know.
It's like
I mean,
nobody wants to talk about that.
yeah, there are so many different viruses, and not pandemics, but like it's all come down from animals,
Oh yeah.
and yet we still continue to do what we're doing, and I
We
don't know.
point fingers at everything but that.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, yeah.
We put all kinds of band-aids on it. We
Yeah,
don't cut out the cancer. We just keep putting band-aids on it.
absolutely. Yeah,
So
so not going anywhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, actually, I do have one more question, and it's a question started with my interview in Sri Lanka,
All
and I'm
right.
going to start. I'm going to start. This is a surprise question. I did put it on your list.
Okay.
pineapple, pineapple on pizza. Yes or no?
I'd have to say no.
You lose. You just like Viduni
I
in
just
Sri
love it.
Lanka. You lose. Especially somebody in the tropics, you're supposed to say yes. All
I said,
right.
why just on pizza?
I'm going to have to keep a scorecard here. I'm going to have to start keeping a scorecard. I know I could have gotten more yeses if I started this in the beginning.
But definitely yes for olives on pizza.
Well, it depends on not black olives. I don't like black. I love green olives though, but I hate black olives for some reason.
Yeah, they're not the best. I think
I don't like black olives. I like Kalamata olives.
panada on pizza is like
Those are wonderful. And I love green olives, but I don't like black olives. So I don't know why. But anyway, all right. Well, I guess I won't cancel you for that, but but keep doing what you're doing over there. You're bringing up vegan kids, and it sounds like they're getting through to their kids, and maybe that's the way to do it. It's just like through the younger generation,
yeah, definitely.
and bringing them up with the ethics. You got to start them early with the ethics, and so they
Yeah,
know why they're doing it. And it sounds like you're doing that. So they'll reach their friends, and
yeah.
you never know, your kids might be the next wave of activists in your area.
Oh,
So
that'd be great.
yeah, but keep doing what you're doing, because you are doing activism online. You're making the posts about animal rights, and that's how you learned, so it's going
Yeah,
to reach somebody.
it role in how I turned to veganism. It did. That's how I learned
Yep.
about it.
So you
Yeah,
never know who's watching. You never know who's reading your posts. I was talking to somebody else about it, that it's usually the quiet people, and you don't know.
yeah.
And then one day they'll just send you a private message and say, "I went vegan," and they never commented on your post.
Oh.
You know, so you never know. It's usually the quiet ones. So,
All right.
or the ones who protest the most, saying,
Yeah,
bacon though, and then
that's
you
right.
know, you never know.
Yeah.
So, B, you know what? It was a delight to meet you. And
You too.
I hope you get to LA one of these days. And I hope you have a great experience. And I would love to come to Malaysia and check it out. It sounds
Oh,
like a wonderful area. You're so close to the equator.
yeah.
And something I've noticed, I don't know if you've noticed this, It always has like the biggest, the longest, the tallest, the deepest, whatever it is, animals, canyons, caves, whatever it is. The equator always has it, the
Yeah.
biggest, the longest, the grandest of whatever it is. So I'm thinking about like just taking a trip around the world just on the equator, just go around on the
That's
equator.
interesting. It
See what
might
I
be a
find.
bit hot, but a bit
As long
warm.
as I don't find the biggest scorpions, I'm cool. I don't want to do that. Can't handle
No.
that. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we say goodbye?
No, gosh, I think I've talked. I've given. I- just I just hope to see more vegans in the world one day. You know.
I hope so too. I hope so too. And just keep pecking away at people. You never know. You'll make a
Yeah.
difference. Everything makes a difference. So, and
Yeah.
the animals are surely glad that you were there. you know,
Thank you for bringing so much of attention to the vegan movement and your platform, using your platform.
it's my pleasure. And I get to live vicariously. I want to travel the world, and obviously can't do it much right now. And so I really get to live vicariously through my guests. So it's a pleasure for me as well. So
Well, if you ever come to Malaysia, you know who to look up.
I will. I would definitely look you up, and you're going to take me to that restaurant. So
Oh, definitely.
all right. Well, it's
Take
getting
care.
late for me. I know it's early for you, so I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm going to go ahead and just knock you off here and let you have a great day. And
Yeah.
hopefully we'll
And
keep in touch. Okay.
yeah.
Everybody, links down below. Okay.
All right. Great talking to
All
you. Bye
right.
bye.
Bye bye, V. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. What a great person. I really enjoyed her. She seems like a lot of fun and a passionate person, and she needs an outlet. She needs an outlet, but she is making posts online, so she is making a difference. So we all are. I think we all are in this day and age. Social media is where it's at. It's where we got to be, and so keep on pushing that message out there. Again, thank you guys for sticking around and watching this. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and yeah, I will see you next time. Oh, if you want to know who's going to be on next week, you just have to show up. All right. Love you. Bye.